This is the story of a small-town girl who enjoys writing as a hobby. She wrote her first story at the age of 6 about a rabbit named Rabbit who had measles. She told her mother the story. Her mother admired her and praised her hard work. She also encouraged her to do more writing in school. She had always been shy and unsociable. She'd live in a fantasy world, and she'd always be writing something in her scruffy little notebook. Her grandmother, with whom she was very close, died when she was 15 years old. However, misfortunes in life never strike alone. Her father's relationship deteriorated, and her mother became seriously ill with a brain-damaging disease. Her mother's condition was deteriorating by the day. Her mother's illness was the biggest shock of her life for this little girl. Her mother died not long after, and she was devastated. As time passed, she was reading a local newspaper when she came across an advertisement for a job as an English teacher in Portugal. She was looking for work and wanted to start a new life, so she jumped at the chance to teach in Portugal. She met a TV journalist in a bar one day. They took with each other and discovered that they both liked the English novelist Jane Austen. They enjoyed each other's company and began spending more and more time together. After a year, they married happily, and a year later, they were blessed with a lovely daughter. But her life took another dark turn. She became a victim of domestic violence, and her husband eventually drove her out of the house. She fled the country with her infant child. She was unemployed and surviving on government assistance while caring for her daughter as a single parent. This was a particularly dark period in her life. She was so impoverished that her friends assisted her in paying her rent. She would sometimes refuse to eat in order to provide more food for her daughter. And as a result of all of these circumstances, she saw herself as a complete failure. And it seemed as if a band of misfortunes would never end. She experienced a severe depression. She had no hope of survival, and she even attempted suicide at one point. Her daughter, on the other hand, inspired her to seek help, and she eventually decided to do what she did best: write fantasy novels. While sitting at her desk, she would forget about everything, so she began writing more and more. She would frequently go to cafes to work on her book while her child slept. Despite the fact that she couldn't afford to eat at the cafe, she only ordered 1 cup of coffee during her writing sessions so that the cafe owner wouldn't kick her out. She managed to complete the first 3 chapters of her novel in this manner. She submitted the story to a publisher, but they quickly rejected it. She sent it to another publisher, but once again, she received a negative response. Her inbox was overflowing with rejection letters. After submitting her story to 12 different publishers and being rejected by all of them, she began to lose faith in her book. Finally, the editor at Bloomsbury Publishing Company sat down to read the story one day. Fortunately, her 8-year-old daughter was also present. The little girl enjoyed the first few chapters and was eager to read the rest of the story. This convinced the publisher to publish